This is the Corsair 4000X RGB case. And it is brand new to me, but it is not a brand new case design by Corsair. This is a couple of years old, roughly. But I bought this used, so you could pick up one of these off of Amazon. The time of the video right now, they're roughly $130. You might be able to get one that's a return for a little cheaper. Be careful with the return ones. But anyway, I got this for $70 or $75 from a guy. I took it out of the box, looked at it, made sure it looked great. It's got all the plastic still on it. He just didn't want it. So, or he wanted a different case, something. I can't remember the exact reason. But the deal is my 10th generation build, which is the Maker, my 10900K, is going to be going in this case. And I'm going to do a future project with it. But I wanted to do a review on the case itself since it's still brand new. It's still got all the tape and the film on the glass panels and all that. So the 10th generation is going to go in this case. And then that's going to leave me room in the current case because I'm going to reuse the case for my 14th generation build. There's no sense in upgrading the case because that case, even this case, supports eATX boards. So your extended boards that are wider, even this case does. And this is just a mid-tower case. But I'm going to do a review on this, so don't go anywhere. No, hey, well, while I got you here, just down there, just a little bit, right under the video, you'll see you can subscribe. Go ahead and click that. And then afterwards, hit that bell icon. That way you can get notified for any future videos that I do post. And if you wouldn't mind supporting me a little bit more, hit that thumbs up button. That way I can continue making these videos that you all enjoy. So, see you around. Okay, so yes, this is the Corsair 4000X RGB. The RGB in it just stands for the 3 included 120mm fans that are, the RGB is included or occupies the center hub of the fan where it spins and kind of radiates out, probably through the fins because they're white case, white fins, and that's what they decided to put in this. And it does not include any rear top fans in this case. A lot of cases include a rear fan and maybe one on the front, but that's why the price is a little higher on this because it does include 3 fans and it also is RGB. So the price on this compared to like the 4000D or 4000D Airflow, this one's going to be a little bit more pricey. But still, these are great cases. Nice, thick construction as far as the steel goes, sturdy. The durability is great on these. So, if we stay here in the front, this front panel, just like on all of them, you just got to get your fingers behind it and pull out. They're just kind of little ball ends on there. You can see it just kind of friction fit, if you will, and then it pops in and locks in. This is a magnetic filter mesh, and it just kind of just pops in there like so. And you can take that out, and the magnetic parts are right here. There's one there, one on the other side, and then 2 up at the top, and it's got the little feet right here that go into the holes right there. So you can see that. This, I believe, so this piece right here does not come out. So if you are looking to have that out on a bench and work on it, that appears to be fixed to the case. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks to be from just right here. Now, of course, we have our tempered glass panel up here. We have a couple of thumb self-retaining. They are retaining screws so they do not fall out. It's kind of nice that they give it the little yellow touch. That's kind of their color. And as soon as you get those out, it still doesn't come out. You got a little tab right here and up at the top, just kind of pull out and away from the case. And don't let it go because it'll just drop. And this is glass, so if it hits on the corner, there's a good chance it could break. So make sure you still have a hold of it. And that's just the way it comes out. Let me set this down. You do have 2 vertical slots, so if you want to do a vertical GPU, now just remember when we're getting into the 4000 series cards and some of the larger 3000 series cards, you can't really do a vertical one because it occupies more than 2 of these. So just be kind of aware of that depending on what graphics card you choose. This will support up to, I think, a 340 millimeter graphics card. So you have up to that you can choose for the length. So you have those expansion slots on the rear. You have 1 fan spot here that holds 120 millimeter. Again, up in front, you can put 3 120 millimeter fans or 2 140 millimeter fans. On the top, I believe, so it looks like 2 100. This is just a mesh, by the way. Okay, so 3 120 millimeter fans or 2 140 millimeter fans up on the top. I will just kind of get you a little visual for that. No, I am totally mistaken. That is just that's just 2 120 millimeter fans or 2 140. I'm looking at that wrong. We got this mesh here. This is just a magnetic strip along the outer perimeter for the dust filter, if you will. That just sits up there like that, and it's got the little yellow indicator where you can actually grab a hold of it and pull it up. And as we move kind of to the inside of this case here, I wanted to show you, now on here it's written, and it's very hard to see. Let me see if I can get you zoomed in. All right, so if you look in here very carefully, it's gonna be very hard to see with the white, but you can see all these markings on here. So at the top or close to the top, it says ATX, that is your standard size. You have micro ATX, then you have ITX, and then you have eATX. So this can support basically any size motherboard that is out there, with a few exceptions for some server boards or something like that. But excellent options. You have all your standoffs, and next to each standoff will be markings, and they will be marked out according to what placement you need to put it in for your motherboard. Usually they come standard with the 8 ATX motherboards. All right, as I tip this forward, you're gonna see a couple of mounting spots, one here and one here. Those are if you have extra 2.5-inch SSDs and you want to mount those there, you can do so. You can see the slits back here that if you have the bracket for the mounting for this, you put the SSD in the bracket and then you put the screw in here and it gets mounted right in the front here. That's an option. You also have a couple options in the back. We'll get to that. So you have an option for 2 more up front. And now you have a hole here that's threaded and another one right here. That is for your vertical standoff mount or for your cable mount. That's where that is going to go. This piece right here. So you have fans in here that are perfectly fine the way they are. But if you want to mount a radiator in the front, then you're going to have to take this piece out so you can fit the fan plus the radiator. Now, if we go into that in a little more detail also, this thing is capable of a 280 millimeter up front or a 360 millimeter AIO. Also in the back, you can put a fan or a 120 millimeter radiator. Up top, you can do a 240 millimeter or 280. The 280 millimeter, I guess if you were going to put that, you're just going to make sure you have clearance for your RAM, because sometimes the 240 millimeter radiators are a little bit thinner. So if you have a thicker radiator, you may your RAM with the AIO plus the fans, and then you got your motherboard with the RAM on it, your RAM may hit. So just be aware of that, because you cannot put any fans, or it's not designed for anyway. You could put fans up top if you didn't have this on there, but it's designed to keep this on and everything on the inside. So those are your options for fans and radiators. As we move around, I'll come back around here to the front. You do have a limited selection with this. You have your power button, your on and off. You have a 3.0 USB Type A port. You have a 3.1 USB Type C port. That's not a 3.2 or 3.2 Gen 2x2. So if your motherboard supports Gen 2x2 you're not going to get the speeds out of this port. And then you have your reset button and a audio microphone combo jack right there. As we move around to the back side, we have the same thumb screws here that stay with it. This just comes off the same way, basically. And what do we got here? We have some decent cable management, just like on the 5000D, just a little less. The 5000D has a plastic track, just like this, that comes around along the top side, which is very nice. But they do give you plenty of these Velcro things. They probably even give you more in this box. You have an RGB hub. I think that's RGB. I don't think that, yeah, that's not for the fans. That's for the RGB. Yeah, you can tell just by the connector. So that's RGB. You have the option for 3 more spots right there. You have the 2 extra 2.5-inch SSD positions right here that you can put. You have room for a very large power supply, pretty much any size power supply you want, given that you either move this tray up to its most forward position or you remove it entirely. Now for me, I don't use mechanical hard drives inside PCs anymore, so I would remove this entirely to give it nice airflow in there for the power supply, and because this bottom fan, right, at least half of the fan is coming across and hitting the power supply. So if you had SSDs in here or mechanical hard drives, because this can support 2 up front, 2 here, and 2 more right here for a total of 6 drives, not including the motherboard, okay? So with your M.2s. But if you had mechanical hard drives up here, maybe leave the tray in, and, well, obviously, if you had mechanical hard drives, you'd have to have the tray. But if you have the tray in there with mechanical hard drives, you'd have half of that fan blowing over and across those drives. So I was kind of looking in the back here also. Aside from this one plastic tray that you can route cables, you do have other spots here where you can tie down with zip ties. They're kind of little tabs that are exposed for you to get a zip tie up and through and tie down. So you have 1, 2, 3, you have 4, they're in here, 4, 5, 6, and then you have right down here along the bottom, you have 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 separate places other than this track, unless I missed one. So it has a power supply dust filter, and that's about it. So you get your documentation, your user's manual. I mean, these are, I guess, nice for people that really don't know what they're doing. But you can even see right here when I was talking about the EATX, that is right there. And you can see that dark black bar that goes up along the side, that represents the EATX. So what do we get on our bottom tray here? We always get our, what do they call them? Just the nuts and bolts and screws for everything. Hardware kit, that's what I was looking for. So in your hardware kit, we're just gonna go over this, what you get with this particular board. Everything is in this bag, which is in this box, which is in the computer, which is in another bag, which is in a box. So many things. So we get our zip ties that they give you. Sometimes they don't give you enough zip ties, but this is actually quite a bit, and they're giving you the longer ones too. We get a couple of extra Velcro straps. We get 3 extras, which is great. I actually have a bunch of spares of these because I don't use them all. We get some screws. So you have hard drive screws, you have motherboard screws, and you have fan screws all right there. You also get some extra screws for your expansion slots. I don't know why they give you extra. Oh, maybe I know what these are for. So these are for, see how you have these up here? So these are for the front two right there. And then they give you washers. These are for, I believe these would be for like if you're putting a radiator in or something like that, because nothing on here requires a washer. And then they give you 3 extra standoffs. Why is that not focusing? There we go. So they give you 3 extra standoffs all in this kit. Now, the only thing they do not include is extra drive caddies. So if you want those ones in the front, you can either take these out, put them in the front to have better access to them. That's the only reason why I put them up front, is if you want a better access. So other than that, I like it clean up front, so I put them in the back, and then I deal with all my cables back here. That's just my preference, unless you have a bunch of boards. But so they don't give you any extras of those, and your riser cable where it gets mounted right here. So if you have a riser, let me just add that. If you have a riser cable and a vertical GPU, you can't put extra drive caddies up front. So you just got to think about that. Or you might be able to put one. Might be able to put one right here, because the drive caddy goes from here. So there's where the hole is, and it goes over to here. So the other drive caddy would kind of sit right here. So you might be able to put one. And that's about it. All your cables for your front umbilical, for your front I/O ports, you have your 3.0, you have your front input-output for your power reset button, power LED. You have your USB Type-C connection for up front, and your audio for up front. And then it gives you, oh, I'm sorry. This is the audio. This is USB 2 that goes to your motherboard to control this guy. And your power for the fans is right here. So that's what you get with this case. So something else I wanted to point out, this 3.0 connector, your motherboard can actually supply 2 USB 3.0s in this one connector. And this connector is more than likely already got the wiring built into it for 2 of them. But they cheapen out and they only give you 1 of the USB 3.0s up top here. It's a lot nicer if they just spend the extra $3, $4, $5. I'd pay that much more to get that extra USB port up there, but they don't do that. Oh yeah, you can also use those extra screws in case you lose one. You have 2 of them there, and you also have, right, the 7 of them in the case. So in case you lose one or one becomes damaged somehow, hopefully the case isn't damaged, and you can get those. Now, Corsair themselves do sell accessories for this, like they'll sell the riser cable, they'll sell the extra caddies, so in case you're looking for those. Okay, so I was just looking, and this whole piece that sometimes can come out on different cases, this is fixed in here. You have a rivet down here, and this piece is affixed to that. So you have to work with the radiator and the fans in the case, so you can't take it out separately. Like you've seen in this She-Hulk build, it will come out separately. Hey, in case you guys are wondering, I had to look this up, but the height of the case is 466 millimeters. The width of it, so from here to here, is 230 millimeters, and the length of it from here to here is 453 millimeters. So if you're looking to put it in a specific spot, maybe that would be informational. That is the craziest word I've ever said. It would be great, good. It would be information for you. So yeah, that's about all I can say for this case. The only thing I will point out extra is, you don't get that extra USB up top, even though the case and the motherboard have no problem giving it to you. But the other thing is, if you are considering putting a radiator up front and you're not air cooling, just be mindful that your airflow restriction, or your airflow, is going to be slightly more restricted than the airflow model of these, or airflow version of this, where it's got the full mesh front piece of this. This is your only airflow is going through the sides here. And there's, I know they probably engineered it to be pretty good, but it's not going to be as good as the airflow, where you can really suck in a lot of air when you ramp up those fans. So that's could be a concern of yours. If not, go with the airflow model. There's nothing wrong with it, and it's a lot cheaper. It's under $100 right now. So for the airflow model, you're talking $30 more just for, like an extra fan, RGB fans, and this extra glass piece up front. So, but both of them for this model, everything else is exactly the same. The only difference between this one and the other ones is you get this glass up front and the RGB fans. Unless you step up to the 5000D model, and then you get a lot more options for that. Now, I think that's about it for this case. So I will leave a link down in the description below if you feel like checking that out or picking one up. It is an affiliate link, which means I will get a small, very small commission on anything that you purchase off of Amazon. I will not know who you are, where it's getting shipped to, what part of the country. I don't know any of that information, and it does not cost you a dime more. So the only thing it does is helps me out just a little bit. And so anyway, that's it. That's all I got to say. So until next time, guys, take care.